The cover presents a stark and brutal image. The title, Death of Wolverine, hangs ominously above, with a bloodied and battered Wolverine at the forefront. His back is turned, revealing multiple wounds with blood splattered across his skin. His claws, extended, drip with red, adding to the sense of violence. Behind him, a target pattern and a silhouetted, almost skeletal image of Wolverine is imposed, hinting at a looming danger. The next page presents a stark black screen with the words the END in bold, white letters. This creates a dramatic and unexpected twist, setting a grim tone for the rest of the story. We're in British Columbia now. A battered and bruised Wolverine is sitting on a dilapidated wooden structure. His clothes are torn, his body is covered in blood. The background shows a serene but distant landscape, but the scene is far from peaceful. The air is thick with the scent of gunsmoke and blood. Sounds. Nothing, the narrator says, and there is silence. But underneath it all, pain. Hands indicates his wounds are not just external. Spent bullet casings litter the ground around his feet. A bloodied knife rests close by, another indication of the recent violence. The serene yet brutal picture tells a story of a recent battle and a somber moment of reflection. The scene shifts to a series of 3 panels, further emphasizing Wolverine's dire situation. In the first panel, he's seen from behind, his silhouette dark against the morning sky as he stands, his clothes torn. He appears to be struggling, his hands slightly extended, claws visible. The second panel reveals a rundown house, smoke drifting in the air, suggesting a fire. We see him again in the foreground, lying down. The final panel shows a close-up of his face, bloodied and wounded, hanging limply, attached to a tree as blood runs down the trunk. The sense of hopelessness and defeat is palpable. This transition from sitting to now being in this state of almost death implies that he has been defeated. The sky is still bright, making his battered state more visible. The title page proclaims Death of Wolverine Part 1 in bold, white letters. It features a silhouetted figure of Wolverine standing against a forest background, with a section of the silhouette revealing a pile of defeated soldiers lying on the ground. The text bubble from one of the soldiers reads sounds like "You ain't found me that miracle," hinting at a previous interaction. The bottom lists the creative team, writers, artists, and editors. The scene shifts to New York City, the Baxter Building, home of the Fantastic Four. It's a flashback, with Reed Richards, his hair neatly combed, discussing Wolverine's condition. He's holding an X-ray of Wolverine's skull, which reveals his adamantium skeleton. Reed explains that Wolverine's adamantium skeleton is making medical intervention difficult. God help you if you ever get a serious concussion. The usual procedure calls for removal of a small section of skull to relieve pressure, but with this adamantium. He admits they cannot easily treat Logan if he got hurt. Wolverine is looking down with a troubled expression as he says, "I'll watch myself, Reed." Then he asks, "So lay it out for me." Reed tells him the bad news directly: "You have lost your healing factor." The problem is that everything you do, your entire physical structure, is built around the fact that you can rapidly heal from almost any injury. He further adds, "You still have your strength, your speed. That's good, otherwise you wouldn't be able to move with this much metal inside you. But that's the only good news. Your bones are mildly radioactive from various exposures over the decades. Didn't you tell me once you were present at Nagasaki?" It is an unnerving revelation to Logan that he has lost his healing powers, and it's a very real threat to his future health. The conversation continues, with Reed explaining the grim outlook on Wolverine's health. A panel shows a mushroom cloud, indicating heavy metal-related leukemia due to the radiation, and also the bacterial infection he could get every time he uses his claws. Reed says he can solve it, and that he can call Stark and Hank McCoy for assistance, but Logan responds, "Already seen him. You're the last genius on my list, Stretch." No offense. Reed is taken aback, his face full of concern. He wants to make clear to Logan how important he is. "I want to see you die. You're important, Logan. The things you've accomplished in your life. The world needs you." He also says that he can reactivate his healing powers, but that Logan has to stop fighting and hole up somewhere. Wolverine, looking troubled, explains word's gonna get out. Don't know how, don't know who, but it will, and then they'll come hunting. Open season. Reed looks back, trying to reason with him. Well, fine, but you don't have to invite it, and for God's sake, Logan, please, he begs. But it seems like Logan's mind is already made up. He is not going to hide and wait for his death. He is going to live until he can't anymore. The panel presents a visceral close-up of Wolverine's hands as he unsheathes his claws. 3 panels show the process. The first panel shows his hand clenching, blood running down his fingers. The middle panel has his claws popping out with the SHKK sound effect, his skin torn and blood flowing from the wounds, and the third panel shows his profile. A text box simply says, "Do not use your claws." And at the end of the third panel, we see hands in a red box, a reminder that Wolverine is already suffering from the repeated use of his claws. The image is raw, highlighting the immediate consequences of using his claws now that his healing factor is gone. The scene transitions to a new location. The first panel shows a tranquil harbor with a fishing boat docked, establishing the setting. The following panels show Wolverine entering Eric's pub, a rundown establishment. The bartender greets him with, "Hey, Logan." "Been." Wolverine responds, "A little while since you've been in." "You want one?" The bartender, wiping a glass, notices the shape he's in. Logan requests, "Sure. Give me the whole bottle, no glass, and a couple clean bar rags. And your phone." The bartender seems unfazed, responding, "Sounds like a solid afternoon." Calming up, as background TV shows a news story about a missing plane carrying Olympic athletes. The panel is labeled as Bar Funk and Stale Beer, establishing the mood and ambience of the place. The next panels depict Wolverine pouring the alcohol on a cloth and starting to clean his bloodied hands with it. His face shows pain, and his injuries look raw. The last panel shows a close-up of his hands, cleaning up the blood, and underneath it reads "hands," reminding us of his inability to heal himself and the continuous pain he's experiencing with his damaged body. Wolverine is on the phone, talking to someone concerned about his well-being. The caller exclaims, "Logan, my God, I was just thinking about you," and then adds, "Yeah, you know Battlestar, Battle Cap's guy." They make a comparison between Battlestar's shield, which is made of adamantium, and Wolverine's skeleton. Wolverine is not pleased by that comparison, replying, "I got nothing to do with that. Just because it's adamantium." The caller continues, "Look, Logan, it's okay for people to think about you. It's okay for people to care about you," and says they are glad that he called. They continue and ask, "No one's heard from you in ages. Are you all right?" "Where are you?" Wolverine is Sama and says, "I'm good. Just needed to hear a friendly voice." After a brief pause, the phone call ends with the click sound. He turns to the bartender and says, "Hey, pal, get me a glass after all. One for the road. And I got one more favor to ask." The bartender replies, "What's that?" To which Logan continues, "Some people might come looking for me. Chances are this is the first place they'll check." The bartender asks a simple "Friends?" To which Logan replies, "Probably not," as his eyes are focused on something unseen, hinting at a potentially dangerous situation. The panels showcase the interior of Eric's pub. The first 3 panels provide different angles, showing customers engaging in typical bar activities such as having a drink, playing pool, and conversing at tables. The layout is traditional with a long bar and a pool table. Patrons are minding their own business. The last panel focuses on the bartender with a speech bubble saying, "Hello there. 4 beers, please. You want anything in particular?" And a response that indicates that doesn't really matter. It's a normal day with no indication of an impending conflict. The scene cuts to a new set of characters. The main figure is a hulking, bald man with the American flag painted on his face, exclaiming, "As long as it's American." This man is accompanied by 2 other men, one wearing a military beret and another with a serious expression, also wearing military attire. In the second panel, the same man says, "Pretty sure I got something down here," as he slides a gun on the bar. The bartender recognizes the gun and says, "Remington's an American brand, isn't it?" The man is not having any of that and replies, "Oh hey, now no need for that," and adds, "Let's hope so. Pal, that's 16 for the beer." and then finishes it by HA, capitalism at work. I love IT, as he gives the bartender a $100 bill. The bartender responds their good old USA moolah from Nuke to you and finishes with I said 16. What's the rest for? The tension in the pub escalates. The bartender is shown cocking his shotgun with a loud KRRNNCH sound effect. The main man with the flag on his face declares, "We're looking for someone." Short, mean son of a bitch calls himself Logan. We know he was in this town, and this is his kind of place. Chances are you've seen him. The bartender, a little nervous, replies, "Yeah, I've seen him. He's gone, but he said you'd come." The man, not happy about the delay, replies honestly, "Friend, you're running a little late," and the other one that came with him says, "I do not care." He say anything else? You really like touching other men's guns, don't you? The man with the flag then says, "I'll ask one more time before I start taking fingers." What did Logan say? And the bartender, looking worried, answers he didn't say nothing. The last panel shows the bartender holding up a map with the text, "Come on then, you cowards," marked on it. The bartender is telling them he just left this. The scene shifts to an exterior setting by the water. The first panel depicts a view from binoculars, showing a building on the water. Someone asks, "You see anything?" To which the response is no. Take the RIB, go check the boat. Check the "Come on, Nuke." In the next panel, the man with the flag on his face, called Nuke, and a man with sunglasses are on a boat, preparing to board another boat. Nuke says, "Yeah, Henry, you get to check the boat. Spencer and Hines will cover you from here. They're both ex-Delta snipers. You got nothing to worry about," and then adds, "Now, you want to get in the damn RIB. Or you want me to toss you overboard so you can swim in. You're doing it either way." The next panel shows the man in sunglasses, now in a small inflatable boat. The view switches again to binoculars and shows the small boat coming closer to the building. A speech bubble says, "Don't see anything, Nuke." Everything seems quiet. The final panel reveals the explosion with "Boom" written in large letters. The panels show the aftermath of the explosion. Nuke is shown with a determined look on his face, saying, "Yeah, well, that's why you only send one guy to check the boat." The next panel shows Nuke and his men leaping from the exploding boat towards another boat. A speech bubble states, "He's here. He's out here," indicating they found their target. The next panel shows the chaos of the boat boarding and a crunch sound effect. The last panel shows two of Nuke's men jumping towards the boat, with one of them explaining, "I know this GUY, boys. It's simple. Get to shore or die." The scene is intense, indicating they are ready for the fight. The scene shows Nuke and his men swimming through the water. The first three panels show them swimming towards the shore. One of the men is shown falling behind in the second panel with the sound effect NNE. In the fourth panel, Nuke reaches the beach, saying, "Oh, you son of a..." Pretty good, Logan. That was. Pretty good, indicating that the explosion was not the final move, but a distraction. The last panel is a close-up on Nuke's face, looking worried, and with a speech bubble that reads "OH no," which indicates that Nuke realized he was played. The panel reveals a beach littered with the bodies of fallen soldiers. It is a gruesome sight, with some wearing yellow gear, some in black ninja suits, some dressed in military gear, some of them with swords through them. In the distance, we can see Nuke crawling. Nuke's speech bubble says, "Half those guys took each other out trying to get at me, and the rest decided they'd rather fight than have a conversation." This indicates that a battle occurred between these guys, all targeting Nuke. The last panel shows a close-up of Nuke's back as he says, "Beer, dome, wax, fried food." The scene shows a face-off between Wolverine and Nuke in the water. Wolverine, with visible scars and wounds, is staring down at Nuke. A text box says, "Muscles tensing," indicating that Wolverine is ready for battle. He says, "Not me, Logan. You know me. I'm always up for a little teet-a-teet." Nuke replies, "Nope, just trying to earn a living," and then adds, "Aha, this is your contract. You put out the kill order." The fight between Wolverine and Nuke begins. The panels show a series of intense action shots. The first panel depicts the clash between the two men, with Nuke landing a punch on Wolverine's face with a gra sound effect. In the next panel, Nuke grabs Wolverine by the neck, and a NNNGH sound effect is present with the word neck. Then the scene shows Nuke throwing Wolverine. Nuke yells, HH, and the next panel shows Wolverine flying, hitting a rock with the sound KRAK. The word everywhere is visible in a red box. The last panel shows Nuke, still in the water, saying, "Ain't my contract, but I'll be happy to take you in." Payday's huge, too. Biggest bounty I ever saw. He continues saying words out. All over the world, everyone's talking about it. But I got you, good old Nuke. It's the American dream, baby. One big score and I'm knee-deep in candy and kitty till my dying day. The fight is brutal, with Nuke seemingly having the upper hand, but the fight is clearly far from over. Nuke stands over a seemingly defeated Wolverine. In the first panel, Nuke walks towards Wolverine, saying, "Logan, come on, brother, that hit was nothing. Not for you," and continues, "You think all Nuke's stupid? I know you. You're gonna pop right back up swinging those damn claws in my face." In the next panel, Nuke kneels beside the downed Wolverine, his face now visibly damaged, and says, "If you're dead, you hairy midget, I'm going to be so damned. You aren't faking, are you? I hate that. Are you faking, Logan?" The next panel shows Wolverine lying on his side and Nuke saying, "No, we ain't done either. Not yet. I still got those questions." And the next one shows a close-up of both of them, with Nuke having a band-aid on his head. Wolverine clutches his wrapped fist and says, "Let's have that teet-a-teet." The fight between Wolverine and Nuke culminates in a brutal and decisive moment. The first panel shows Wolverine landing a savage headbutt on Nuke's forehead with the sound effect "luck." The next panel shows a close-up, with Wolverine again headbutting Nuke with the sound effect KRRN. The third panel shows Nuke reeling from the blow, with blood splattering. The next three panels show Wolverine repeatedly headbutting Nuke with the sound effects scroom, choom, and throom, culminating in a depiction of Nuke's skull being caved in, the American flag paint on his face now soaked in blood, creating a graphic and violent scene. The aftermath of the battle is grim. Wolverine, with the word head in a red box above, is kneeling over a badly injured Nuke, demanding, "American dream, my ass. This is Canada. Who put out the contract? Who wants me dead?" Nuke replies, "En not dead, only pays out if you're alive. See capture not kill, your money walking, talking money. But the bounty goes down the longer it takes to get you. It's a race." Wolverine says, "They're just gonna keep coming anywhere I go. Guys like you, not caring who gets in the way, who gets hurt, who dies." Then he adds, "You want to get out of this alive, Nuke? You do two things. What?" In a serious tone, he continues, "First, spread the word. Tell every son of a bitch thrill killer I ain't no damned prize. Come after me, you die. Kill anyone trying to get to me, you die. You're the last guy I let walk away, ever. Make sure they understand, all of them. And then ask second thing you tell me, right now. Who?" The next panel shows Wolverine kneeling over Nuke, and Nuke says, "See contract came out of Madripoor." The last panel shows a close-up of Wolverine's face as he asks who, and a speech bubble that reads, "Lady who runs that whole poison city, owns everything, has everything, doesn't need nothing except the Wolverine. You know her name, the Green Queen." The final panel introduces the Green Queen, who we now know as Viper. She is sitting on a red, throne-like chair, a confident smirk on her face as a heavily chained man, presumably her bodyguard, with long blonde hair and an angry look sits at her feet. The text at the bottom reads, "Next, Madripoor," indicating the next destination in Wolverine's quest. Thanks for tuning in. Stay curious, stay awesome, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more amazing content.